Hello, welcome to the Data Channel. So let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered how platforms like Netflix recommend the exact movie you were just thinking about, or how Uber can track millions of rides happening at the same time across different continents, right, or countries, or how bank can detect the fraud, any fraud that happens in real time or very near real time while processing millions of credit card transactions every second. The secret behind many of these real-time large-scale systems is Apache Kafka. So now if you're new to Kafka, so this think of it like as a nervous system of modern data-driven companies, just like human nervous systems to transmit the signals instantaneously between different parts of the body. Similarly, Kafka transmits the data events instantaneously between the different parties of the company's technology ecosystem. Right. So what makes Kafka powerful is its ability to handle the huge volume of data and at an incredible speed with a solid reliability. So the reliability is a key factor here, and also the volume and the speed. It is not just about the tool for engineers; it is foundation that powers a seamless experience for billions of people across the world. And today in this video, we will be discussing the and break down the top five Apache Kafka use cases that we can think of. So these aren't just theoretical concepts; they are actually actual ways companies like Netflix, LinkedIn, Uber, Goldman Sachs, are like companies like this are using Kafka to power their business. And by end of this video, you will be able to see why Kafka has become a must-have skills for data engineers, architects, and developers in the modern data landscape. So before proceeding, if you are new to this channel, we would recommend you to please subscribe and also press bell button for instant notifications. So let's get started. So let's quickly understand what is Apache Kafka. So it is basically an open source distributed event stream, right, for real-time processing and application. And basically, it is having something called as publisher and subscriber, and in between there is different brokers. So brokers is what Apache Kafka handles, and publisher will publish the data, and subscriber has to publish to the topics that is publisher is subscribing to. I mean, publisher is publishing. So then, so that the publisher, whatever publisher is publishing, so that the subscriber or the downstream can consume the data in real time, right? And Kafka is designed for basically the high throughput, low latency, and fault tolerance. So because when you're talking about the real-time data, the volume can vary. So it is not just about the high volume. Suddenly the volume can drop and suddenly volume can spike up, right? So in that cases, Kafka is designed to handle those kind of scenarios where to handle the low latency and also the fault tolerance scenarios and handling millions of transactions or millions of rows per second. So it also stores the streams of records in a distributed, durable, and replicated rock across brokers. So that means it is makes the system more fault tolerant if there is any backfill that you have to do or rerun the or reload the data that is already failed, so that you can able to make using Apache Kafka. And widely, it is used for stream processing, data ingestion, and real-time analytics across multiple industries. And so this is just an intro about Apache Kafka, but now actually we will jump into the topic of what are the different scenarios or use cases that Apache Kafka can be used or leveraged. So first, let's talk about data replication. So in today's world, organizations rarely operate from a single database or a single data center. So they often run multiple environments. Maybe it is on-premise, cloud, and sometimes across multiple regions also. So keeping all the systems in sync is really a big challenge, right? So this is where Apache Kafka shines. That means Apache Kafka acts as a distributed, I mean, it acts as a distribution layer here. So, and Kafka distributes a log, ensures that every changes in the system is reliably propagated to other. For example, here if you see, when a record is updated in the primary database, that can be streamed through the Kafka and immediately reflected to another database. Okay, and or it can even get cached, or even a cloud warehouse like Snowflake. or to a BigQuery. Okay. So this is not just about the convenience, okay? If you really think about it, is about the resilience and the availability. So imagine a bank is replicating the transaction data across the multiple regions. So even if one data center goes down, so the others are still in sync. Okay, so ensuring customers don't lose access to their accounts, etc. So companies like Uber, LinkedIn rely on the Kafka for seamless replication across environments, enabling them to handle global scale and also provide a consistent user experience no matter where you log in from, right? So that is where in these scenarios where the data replication is very important, and Apache Kafka is kind of acting or facilitating these kind of scenarios where it is a distributed computing or distributed logs or distributed system is enabled, right? So this is the case number one or scenario number one you can think of. And case two or scenario two we can think of is web activity tracking. So and this is one of the classic Kafka use case, because think about your last session in Amazon, like every click or search or add to cart, or even you're just hovering on a product, valuable product that is a valuable data for them. So they actually what they do is like multiply that by millions of users per second, and you get a insane volume of events, right? Because all these events they are capturing continuously. Whatever the personalization, whatever the activities each users are doing using any of these devices can be like from right click, left click, just mouse hover. So everything will be captured. So then you can imagine how much volume of the events that might be flowing into, right? So Kafka can easily handle this massive amount of data with very ease. So it acts as a central hub in this case and collecting activity data from multiple sources. It might be web application, mobile application, or even another backend system as well. So then it starts the stream of data to analytics engines, recommendation models, and also different monitoring dashboards, etc. So why does this matter? Because it powers things like you can think of personalization, personalized recommendation. Okay, as a user, especially in the retail, so showing you products that is you are mostly likely to buy. Okay, so that personalization scenario you might think of, right? And A/B testing. So like for example, helping business test new designs or features in real time, and also the fraud detection, which is very critical in terms of banking or like any finance related transactions, etc. So catching unusual logins or purchase patterns instantaneously would actually very beneficial. So this is where the web activity tracking will in real time, which is enabled by Kafka. You can think of these kind of scenarios, most common scenarios, right? And for example, if you take Netflix uses Kafka to track user interaction with every click on its platform, which helps power their recommendation engines and improve streaming quality dynamically also. So next time when you see the product recommendation that feels almost too accurate, so there is a good chance the Kafka is behind the scenes. Yeah. So next, let's move to the case three, which is message queuing. So here, message queuing is basically in microservices. If you talk about, right, so in a modern architecture, applications aren't just monolithic. So there are cases where you use microservices architecture also. So they are broken into smaller pieces, independent services. That's what the microservices means. But these services need to talk to each other, and they need to do it so reliably, even under heavy loads or heavy data scenarios, right? So traditionally, message brokers like RabbitMQ and ActiveMQ were used. I mean, these are like legacy now, but these were previously used. But with the evolution of Kafka, so Kafka takes it to next level by providing high throughput, low latency, and fault tolerance on this massive scale, which was pretty much lacking in RabbitMQ and ActiveMQ before Kafka came in. So let's say you are booking a flight. When you click on a pay, multiple services, Spring services take into action. Maybe your like payment is there, ticketing is there, and the notification system, like loyalty points. There are multiple operations happening behind the scenes, right? And each of these operations, there is a microservices behind the scene which is doing these operations or triggering these operations. So Kafka ensures each of these services gets event reliably, even if one service is temporarily down. So this is asynchronous communication. All right. So this is what because it doesn't wait for other to successfully finish. It is taking parallelly with asynchronous way of doing it, so that it decouples the systems, making them more resilient and scalable. Also, no more bottlenecks will be there, and there is no single point of failure because all the messages are independent or asynchronously handled here. For example, if you talk about Spotify or Airbnb, uses Kafka to manage communications between their microservices. So this ensures users can still interact with their platform smoothly, even during the high traffic event like concerts or holiday seasons, booking, etc. In short, Kafka doesn't just queue the messages in this case. So it guarantees they are delivered and replayable and also scalable across thousands of services. So what that replayable I was telling, right? What it means, it is also very important because sometimes you consume that you are continuously consuming the data, but sometimes you might lose the data when you're processing, or you might accidentally get the records that you're consuming might get lost, or it might not reach the consumer because of memory issue, because of XYZ issues, right? So any technical issues might happen, and then if you want to replay that data, that means whatever you have consumed last hour or last 30 minutes. So in that case, it makes the things replayable also. That's one of the power of Kafka. So where you can replay. Okay. So this is a scenario where like case three, messaging queuing, keep in mind wherever there is a microservices are getting involved. So in these cases, message queuing will come into picture, and we are explain that scenario in this, right? So now let's go for the log aggregation. Log aggregation is again one of the most commonly used scenario for Kafka. So logs are the lifeblood of monitoring and troubleshooting modern applications, because so without logs you cannot even understand what is the system health, how it is performing, if there is any anomalies in the system. Okay, so is everything going well? So overall health we are getting from the logs, right? But in micro services or containerized words, logs come from hundreds of or thousands of sources. Imagine manually searching across those will be a huge effort, right? Kafka solves this problem by becoming a central pipeline for all of these logs. So maybe there might be like different servers, different logs, thousands of logs or thousands of systems generating logs every day, right? So like Kafka is acting as a centralized source here, okay? And applications and servers stream their logs into Kafka, and where they can be consumed by different search engines or search capabilities, Elasticsearch, Splunk, or Datadog for indexing, searching, and visualization. Because see, this is particularly used mostly in terms of, as I was telling, the monitoring or checking the health of the applications or the servers, etc. So, right, and this makes it possible to, for example, you want to spot the anomalies in real time, like sudden spikes in errors. There are a lot of errors. There is a memory spike. There is something's not going well. So you can easily kind of track that in real time. Okay, and debug distributed systems where multiple services are interacting. What that means is, like, suppose you have server 1 and server 2 are actually interacting between each other, because you are getting log of both the servers. So you can, if there is a issue in one server and issue is in another server at the same time, you can relate that, or you can have some kind of a relation between those two logs, because Kafka is acting as a centralized location. That is the advantage here. So you're getting all the logs in one place. You can have that relationship built between the different logs generated by different systems. And it meet the compliance and auditing requirement also by keeping logs tamper proof and centralized. because if there is any compliance or regulatory related things that auditor wants to check, it might be IT auditor or business auditor. So they want to come and check everything, all the logs in one place. So in that case also, this will be helpful, and most of the organization does that, right? So are already using this. So take for Uber for an example. Their infrastructure generate millions of logs per second from drivers, riders, and backend services. Kafka aggregates these logs in real time, making it easier to monitor service health and debug issues quickly. So in short, Kafka turns flood of raw logs here, okay, into a structured, actionable insights or the intelligence, what you can call, okay. So this is where we call it as monitoring, and you can also call it as a data observability. So you're it is like you're observing very closely here because it's a real time. So, and finally, we will take off next case, like most of the most common case, that is the data streaming. Okay. So here, this is perhaps the most well-known use case for Kafka. Unlike traditional and batch processing, where data is moved in chunk every hour or a day, so Kafka enables organization to build pipelines that handles the data the moment it is created. Okay, so think about the IoT devices. It is generating sensor data every second, right? Kafka can stream this data to monitors, like monitoring systems, to detect like equipment failure very instantaneously. Or think about a fraud detection in banking, like Kafka streams transaction data to machine learning models so that flag suspicious activity within milliseconds, right? And this is not just about the speed, okay? It's about the decision making in real time, okay? So retail companies are use Kafka to update pricing dynamically based on the supply and demand ratio, and streaming platform use it to personalize your home page the moment you log in. And the logistics companies use Kafka to kind of track the shipment live and optimize the routes, etc. So you can think of a number of scenarios, right? And for instance, if you take about Netflix uses Kafka to power its real-time monitoring system to ensure uninterrupted streaming across the globe. Okay, while Goldman Sachs leverage Kafka for real-time trading analytics because they are into a trading business, right? So when we talk about the streaming, we are talking about the turning massive, fast-moving data into instant insights and actions, and the Kafka is making it possible here. So this is where how it looks, right? Like data streaming. So you stream the data from different applications. It's not about just applications. Maybe it might be databases. In traditional systems, what used to happen is you are scheduling it. Like I need to get the XYZ tables like daily once or daily twice. So only then the ETL pipeline was working, and ETL pipelines were scheduled to kind of perform the ingestion and transformation, and then pushing the data to the downstream. But here that is not is happening, right? It is as soon as the data is arriving, you are sending the data to the downstream systems. So this case 5 is specifically where we call for data streaming. It is more, I would call it as a real-time ETL. So this is what the real-time ETL looks like. Okay. So now we'll move finally to the end of this video, where these are the top 5 Apache Kafka use cases that we have seen: data replication, web activity tracking, message queuing, log aggregation, and real-time streaming. So if you know any other use cases which you have used apart from these, please feel free to comment in the comment sections. And together, these use cases show why Kafka isn't just the data tool. It is a cornerstone of the modern data architecture. It makes real-time applications, global services, and seamless digital experience possible. So if you found this useful, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And also let me know in the comment section which Kafka use cases you find the most exciting or you might have already used, right? That's all about this. Thanks for watching.